Say cheese, everybody. Y'all on TV. Kia ora, Tiana Haxton here, welcoming you to yet another episode of the Kreative Kokanuts. Today we're going to be speaking with Mii Taokia. Now he is well known for his contribution to the New Zealand music scene, and he started playing and teaching music professionally at the age of 16. In this straightforward and honest interview, we take a look at why Escape magazine has called him a creative ninja, and we look at his expression of the art through a multitude of mediums, and what it takes to survive as a business in the Cook Islands as a creative.
What's your name, man?
My name's G, man. George Flissolati. And bass, Mii. What's your last name, cuz?
Just bass, bro.
Just bass, yeah.
Just leave it, bass. Bass. Because that's what I do, bro. Bass.
Kia ora, my name is Mii Taokia, aka Bass, everyone calls me Bass. And I'm not too sure what I do creatively because I do quite a lot, heaps. I'm probably more known for music. I play bass guitar. I play everything but bass. Bass is probably my favorite. But I'm one of those dudes who I get bored really quick. And I like to do heaps of creative stuff. I do 3D art, I do 3D animation, I sew, do graffiti, I DJ, I do graphic design, probably heaps of stuff I can't remember. I do martial arts. I teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu here in Rara. Cook. I'm a chef. I'm a qualified chef as well. But yeah, the lines are kind of blurred when it comes to because to me it's all the same. Like I didn't see the difference between doing martial arts or playing guitar or DJing or doing a piece of animation or sewing clothes and stuff like that. So yeah, bit of a all-rounder guy, I suppose. Being a creative in the Cook Islands, being a creative in general, as far as trying to make a living from it, is fucking hard, man. It's difficult as. I don't really see much of a difference being a creative in New Zealand or being a creative over here. I mean, a lot of the challenges are pretty similar. But I do find that the creative industry here is probably a bit more diverse, and we do have the skills over here in all forms of art that are up to par with, like, on an international level. And I know that because in New Zealand I used to do the same thing, and we're just as good as them. But it depends what medium it really depends on what medium you're talking about. The music industry, if you can call it an industry, is, what's the word? The music industry over here is more closed, I'd say, compared to New Zealand and compared to other parts of the world that I've played in regards to the fact that they're not very sharing over here. As far as skills, which I understand because when I was little, my grandma used to tell me all the time, she used to say that to me all the time. And my other grandma was the complete opposite. So when I came to Rara, I mean, the musos over here do everything different from rehearsing. Like, normally a rehearsal means you get what you need to rehearse. You go home and you practice it, so that when you come to rehearsal, everyone knows their bits and everyone knows their parts and all that stuff. And then, rehearsal runs smoothly. But over here, a rehearsal is, you get all your parts weeks before, you come to rehearsal, no one's learned anything, and you literally sit there by a CD player or an MP3 player or whatever, and you push play, and everyone learns it at the same time. And well, for me, you know, not coming from that type of mentality, it was frustrating, man. It was frustrating as fuck. I hated it. I couldn't freaking stand it. But in the same breath, I understood where it came from. So yeah, in music, it's really frustrating, man. It's really frustrating. Other forms of art over here, it really depends. I mean, the art community is huge. It's quite diverse, and from my experience anyway, it's really supportive. Really supportive. It doesn't matter what art or creative direction you're going to take. You pretty much got all the help you need. And I find most of that help comes from like expats, like cookies that, you know, lived overseas for years, trained overseas for years, and then come back, and then came back. Yeah, not so much in the music industry, in the music here in the Cooks. And I think that comes down to ego. I think you'll find ego in music more prevalent than in other forms of art, because musicians, you know, we stand on stage and you get immediate gratification because these people are there and you're playing to them, and most of the time you're either in a bar or club DJing or playing in a band and stuff like that. And as soon as you take a break, or as soon as you walk off stage, man, people are just there feeding your egos, and and most people over here, they believe it. They believe it. Where I'm from old school, you know, you don't let ego get to you, otherwise nobody will work with you, bro. It's as simple as that. I do think that the creative industry could be expanded a lot, and I reckon the best way to do it is through collaboration. I mean, that's pretty much what I think, what I believe, is that you need to create stuff with other people. It's impossible to do art by yourself. I mean, yeah, sometimes art can be lonely. You know, you're literally sitting in your room painting stuff by yourself and all that. But without other people, no one's ever going to see it. You know, and you need, if you're going to set up an art exhibition, for instance, you actually need to get on a phone or start writing some emails to people. It needs to be inclusive. All of that kind of stuff. It needs to be, and especially in music, if you're in a band, you know, you're not in a band by yourself. It really is teamwork, and you'll find that in any creative medium. I mean, film and animation is probably the two main things you'll find literally every art, all collaborating, all working together, all on the same page, you know, mentally and creative-wise, where all the arts meet, from concept artists to painters to, you know, film, audio engineers, special effects dudes, yeah, all that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of creatives on the island that do their own thing, but as far as you know, big projects, yeah, it's important to feed off each other, because there's nothing worse than being stuck in your own world when you're creating something, because you don't have the luxury of other people's input, especially people that understand what you're doing. You know, creative people, we think different, we problem solve different, we do everything differently. And yeah, it's always nice to be around like-minded people and people that get it. I think a better question is, what is the government doing at the moment to help develop the creative industry? And I'd say nothing, really. I mean, yeah, these times are not only the government. You know, I think the media has a lot to do with that as well. But yeah, the government are doing literally nothing for, as far as I'm concerned, literally doing nothing for the creative community. And yeah, that's my feeling. I think they ain't doing jack shit, actually. I'd like to see the government do anything. And what I mean by anything is not anything like, you know, just because someone's putting on an exhibition doesn't mean that you just spend a day filming them or a day, you know, on Facebook promoting the exhibit, and then everything dies after that. I'm talking about long-term, sustainable support, and, you know, doing things like workshops for the kids. I mean, I just finished interviewing my daughter, and her biggest moan and my biggest moan is that there's not enough engagement for the young Cook Islanders that are, you know, like in the last year of school, and they're either dancers or, you know, want to be actors or musicians or whatever it is, and there's no bridge from that last year of leaving school to, you know, going to uni or, you know, whatever it is, into full-time employment, because in the end, that is what all creatives want to do. They want to make a living out of their passion about what they love doing, and I mean, I know that for a fact because I've done nothing else except creative stuff since I was a kid. So, and it's really hard, man, and without that support, I don't think you'll make it. And you probably will, but no one will know about it. You know, just certain select people in your family or close friends, you know, stuff like that. But there's tons the government could do, you know, doing workshops, getting our own people over here who are creatives, that are experts in their field. You know, there's like Motone, there's a massive production company, there's tattoo artists on the island, Hinana Wearing, Luther, Raniera, all these guys to go into the schools, you know, start mentoring them. Like, I've been trying to run a 3D course on this island for friggin' years. And I went to both educational institutes, and I'm still waiting, man. I'm still freaking waiting. I'll probably end up just doing it from my house, or, you know, sitting up and tip up a field and just sitting there with some laptops with some kids and doing that, because the government ain't doing enough. I mean, they probably are, but they literally haven't helped me do anything. I mean, everything that I've done, all the stuff that I've achieved has only been on my own steam, you know, and family help, and working with the creatives that are here on the island and stuff like that. Yeah, so any help's better than no help. I think that as far as families are concerned, some parents, a lot of parents, because I've spoken to most parents who have creative kids, and one time a parent told me that, and I was telling him, oh man, your kid's so talented, you should get him to do this, and he literally told me, I just don't see it. I can't see it. And I think a parent's job is not for you to see it. I think a parent's job is more to be supportive of whatever they want to do, you know? My kids, for instance, because I know how hard the creative industry is, I put them off doing anything creative. My daughter used to pick up a guitar, my sons used to pick up a guitar, and I just tell them straight away, put that thing down, man. What the hell are you doing? Because I know for a fact it's hard. But, you know, they get older and they're picking up the guitar more and more often, and they're picking up pens and paints and stuff like that. I have the stuff on my walls, my daughters. And, you know, they're doing all their stuff. And I just thought to myself, man, when I was a kid, nobody encouraged me to do any of their stuff. And, you know, I did it all by myself, pretty much with no support at all. And if I support my kids and get them to do the stuff that I was doing, you know, back then, how awesome would that be? You know, how wonderful would that be? And they're proving me right. At the moment, all my kids are into some form of creative thing. You know, that's them. I make them do martial arts. I make them do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because it's an art that gives you the skills of being able to adapt to anything. I mean, the worst pressure you can have in your whole life, physically, is somebody sitting on top of you, trying to punch you in the face, breaking your arm. And all my kids know how to deal with it. It's like, it's child's play to them, you know? So having that kind of mindset and skill set, you can adapt to not only life, but anything creative. I mean, I've been able, I'm proof. I mean, that's why that's why I have so many mediums where I need to express myself, because I adapt quickly and I can learn stuff really fast. And then it just comes back to having that type of support, you know, for the kids. And when I was little too, you know, growing up in South Auckland in Otara, there's a lot of challenges that you have to deal with, gangs, drugs, peer pressure, and all that stuff. And that's not unique. You know, every teenager, every kid will have to deal with that kind of shit eventually. You know, it's all about trying to redirect their energy, especially if they're creatives, into something positive, into something good. Because really, all creativity is expressing yourself. And I think artists, it doesn't matter what medium, it's our responsibility to do that, and be honest about doing that, and not be scared about doing that, because we can address stuff that people don't talk about, you know, abuse and, you know, all that kind of shit. We get the chance to literally talk about it, and no one can do shit about it because, you know, it's art. So yeah, so encouraging kids to have that mindset, encouraging them to express themselves honestly, you know, not lying to themselves. And that's something that's not easy. You know, I struggle with it now. I struggle with that shit like right now. Like 10 minutes ago, I was struggling with it. So it's a normal thing, and I think that that has to be okay for them to realize, you know, that's normal. It's normal for you to feel anxiety. It's normal for you to be depressed at times, you know, especially when you're creating. And the thing is, when you're creative, there is no in between. When you're a creative, there's like a scale. We're either extreme on one end, where we're out there, and then we're extreme on the other end also. Dark places sometimes. So yeah, and that's okay. You know, that's fine. And I think the kids need to be encouraged and told that, because it's completely normal. There's no creative that I know that's in the middle. We either, you know, love your ass heaps, or we can't fucking stand you. That's pretty much, that's it. Yeah. I think it's important to always be yourself. I think it's important to have the skills necessary to self-educate. I mean, we're in the information age, and it's not like back in the days we had to go fill out a library card and go to the library and find some obscure book about art or anything. You don't need to do it, man. You just go Google and everything's there. Yeah, having that skill of being able to self-educate yourself, and not only that, but, you know, remain focused on whatever you're trying to learn. When I was a kid, I used to lock myself away in my bedroom and just play bass, like literally day, night, all day, all night long. That's all I used to do. My mom used to call out, come have some food, you know, have some dinner. And I wasn't even interested in any of that stuff. I'd go out and buy videotapes. I know you guys don't know what that is, but it's like a Blu-ray. But yeah, and I used to go buy those and just watch them, man. And I learned that quite early, that it's really important to self-educate yourself. And I've been able to take that mindset and apply it to pretty much everything creative that I do. Pretty much. I'm a fast learner. I pick up on shit real quick. And yeah, I think that's a skill that young people need to have. And don't get put off by whatever anyone says, even your parents. You know, because we were interviewing someone the other day, and they were saying that parents always want their kids to be like doctors and lawyers and, you know, shit like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if your child is showing some an interest in creativity, or has got some real talent, then there's no mystery there. You know, they should be doing that. They shouldn't be a doctor or a lawyer or any of that stuff if they can draw pictures, lifelike, photographic, real stuff. You know, that. And some more advice I'd give for young artists is don't be afraid to approach people that are already in the industry. The creative people are very open. You know, we're always there. I mean, part of being a creative is being able to share your skills and knowledge. And you know, I was brought up thinking the opposite from Cook Island women, from 4 very strong Cook Island women that raised me, and they always said don't share shit. But you know, I'd see them doing TV when I was little, and doing crochet and all that stuff, and it was nothing but collaboration. My whole house was just full of women, full of people, all doing something creative, whether it's writing songs, you know, imutuki, stuff like that, whether it's putting together putet, embroidering pillows, and doing TV. I mean, a normal day in my house when I was a kid was me getting little squares of colored material. And my grandma have all these colors that you needed to put on a needle and thread. And I'd do all the colors right, and I'd just lay them on the ground. And my aunties would come along, pick them up, and their job was to sew all together. And once they're all sewed together, my other auntie would come along, jump on the Singer sewing machine, you know, and do that. So even though it went against everything that they were actually telling me, the actions were completely different. So yeah, for the young ones out there, it's important to collaborate, and don't get stuck in your own little bubble. Makes life easier, trust me.
He sure is a great person to work with. Anyways, next time we're going to be speaking with Eddie Chambers. He was a major figure in the Auckland inner city scene in the 1990s, and he started working at Radio BFM in the late 1980s. So next time on the Kreative Kokanuts, we'll be catching up with him and talking about his contribution to the creative community via his show, Beyond the Reef. Until then, I'm Tiana Haxton. Ka kite.